Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Active Life Podcast.
Unbelievable.
Regardless of what the haters on Instagram say, it is the #1 podcast for fitness professionals by fitness professionals.
You know you're winning when pages like our company are not only getting haters, but more individuals on staff are starting to get haters.
Yep.
It's great. I got my first real one a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Dude, it took me a couple days to shake off.
Oh, man.
And on the other side of it, I was like, all right, I get it now. I'm good. Hugo got his first recently.
Yeah?
It's good, man. It's happening.
I haven't had anybody for a long time reach out to me directly.
Yeah.
I just don't engage with it.
I'm very happy about it.
I'm excited for you.
So we did a seminar recently, and I hate to be the bearer of good news to those who couldn't make it, but it was a hit.
I think we crushed it, and the people who came got so much out of it. Mm-hmm. Especially, it was really interesting to see because it was like half and half this time. There were half ALPs or ALPCs.
So rather, sick, right?
And then half people who weren't involved in the education at all.
I know. It was so cool.
So it was cool to see even the opportunity for learning that happened with people who are so deep into our curriculum.
Oh, man, a lot's coming up that I think would be really cool to share, but I'll let you do the thing.
Start sharing.
Okay. Well, one thing that stood out was I was on a consult with someone in the days after. I was on a consult with someone in the average length of engagement for students that were ALP in ALP right now at this seminar was, I don't know, like 6 months.
Yeah, I think so.
And I had intelligent, mature adults that are coaches, that are trainers, whatever it is. I was in one where she was telling me, I'm not sure that I can do this, after being in the room and having a question be asked, me having absolutely no clue, and watching 9 other people boom, boom, boom with an answer and a this and a that. And I was like, look, they've been learning about this stuff for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a massive compliment to all of those students and what it takes when they go through this stuff.
Yeah.
To hear, I don't know that I can actually do it, seeing the caliber of the people that were in that room. Awesome.
Yeah. Did you have any other moments like that afterwards?
Yeah, a big one. Well, not like that, but another one that stood out to me that I thought was really cool was a major takeaway. There are some students that were 10 months in, 11 months in, and by many measures, they're doing a really good job in just life and business. There's one in particular, I think she's doing 10-5, 11K a month. She does 24 sessions a week, something like that. And by many definitions, you look at that and say, what does this person have to learn from an in-person seminar about the introductory content in the 100 level coursework in the 13 months of ALP? Mm-hmm. What does she have to learn from this? Maybe she's in the room, she's going to practice some technique a little bit. To see and to hear her say things like, this was totally worth coming to. There was so much more that I took away from this than I anticipated. That's really cool.
Well, it speaks to her level of seeking to understand on a much deeper level as well.
Yes.
Because the things that she was taking away from it were the more subtle, the softer, the language pieces, like how you place your hand and how you do this one detail of the thing, not the whole big global pattern of it. So she was able to look into, and I think I know what you're talking about, she was able to look into the details, the nuance, and be like, oh, this will change it.
That's it.
Everything for me.
That's it. And beyond that, how much better we can all always be.
Yeah.
The second thing that stood out is in the wake of the first one, hearing what the 11 current students went through, there are now 20 that are enrolled, 20 more students that are enrolled in the next one in 2 or 2.5 months from now, based on the feedback from the 11 students that went to the first. And there are only 27 spots. I don't know. There might be 20, maybe only a few left, but 20 of them are current students. Think about how cool that is.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's, well, here's what happened for me when I first went through. Well, it was the first 3 seminars technically, because when we did ProPath, we would kick off the next 3 months of learning with an in-person seminar, right? So we came for the very first seminar, which is the Coaches Awareness Seminar. That was where we learned the movement screen. right, for the very first time. And then when we enrolled in ProPath, the next seminar that we came to, we redid the movement screen. And I didn't have the same level of maturity then that I do now. And we were like, we're learning the same fucking thing. We're doing the same thing again. They're not teaching us anything new. They're just making this up as we go. Mm-hmm. And to look back on it and now be able to see somebody who was even much further along in her education process and her journey than I was when I took the seminar for the second time, to be able to see how she was able to do such a better job than I was at the time of identifying there's a ton of area of opportunity here, rather than being like, teach me something new.
Yep.
That was really cool to see.
Yep. Well, I think that's the difference between people that are in a rush to constantly fill a vacuum of more, instead of thinking about how small degrees of better can make bigger shifts than more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I was definitely looking to fill a lot of vacuums back in 2019.
I've been there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are some of your takeaways?
I had 3 big takeaways from this event. The very first one was for me. So one of the takeaways that I took away for myself is being prepared. Like, look, I've had the conversation about hierarchy of needs dozens of times for clients. I've never delivered hierarchy of needs for other coaches. So I spent the week before and the days before. We had seminar on Saturday. I was at the flagship practicing until 9:00 at night on Friday, and then got back there Saturday morning to get more reps in. I delivered it to the professionals a couple of times to get their feedback on it. And it just, what it highlighted for me is sometimes people think that professionals practice until they get it right. And you practice till you can't get it wrong. Mm-hmm. That's that's the next level.
I agree
here. So the preparation and the practice was it was a full circle moment for me, right? Coming from being a client in 2019 to leading, helping to lead the seminar in 2024. So being on the other side and figuring out how I wanted to give those talks.
That's huge, man. That's wow. That really hit me. You should be really proud of yourself. I'm sure you are. It's a massive, massive accomplishment.
It was a really cool moment. And to think about how I wanted to deliver those pieces of education and practice them so that it looked as good for everyone who was in attendance as it did for me in 2019.
For anyone who's listening, and I think it's worth pointing out that Cody, you are revealing that you used to be a client of Active Life's, and now you are helping clients of Active Life. And I think for anyone who wants to better understand, well, how do I work for a company like that? Listening to how you talk about preparation and the intention here is how you become the kind of person that would. Mm-hmm. So whether that's not an invitation to say start doing those things and you're going to start working for Active Life. What it means is start doing those things and you're going to have like higher categories of success than you otherwise would if you didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity that presents itself from that deep practice. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the takeaways for me. The second that I saw with clients was that you cannot replace in-person practice and feedback. Yeah. We're a virtual company for a lot of our education. Mm-hmm. And the levels that people who even, like we had already talked about, were able to jump by going through the movement screen in person, getting immediate and direct feedback.
No, don't put your hand here. Put your hand here.
Yes. Not like this, like this. Yes. Look, you're going in for you're going in to test the hip supine hip flexion right now, and you're driving them that way.
Yep.
Because of where your body's placed.
Don't push with your arm. Use your body.
Square yourself up, drive forward. You're aiming here, you're looking here. Right? All of those little things, like it's so difficult to see that, get that, and you certainly can't get it as fast in a virtual environment.
Mm-hmm. It can happen because by many measures, people are executing this stuff effectively. They're just, to your point, there's no replacement for learning when someone can see and smell and touch you. Mm-hmm.
It's a speed thing.
Yep.
I agree. You can learn it. Mm-hmm. It's how fast can you learn. It's the feedback loop.
Yep.
Is so much tighter.
Yep. It's easier to be hit with something that you're just like, I'm always going to remember that. Yeah. That's downloaded.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That was the big takeaway that I saw with clients. And then the third thing was something that I noticed happening throughout, whether they were clients, whether they were people coming in for the first time. And this was, for me, when I was learning this stuff, it was the most valuable thing. Say the thing, give the cues exactly the way that they're written.
Yep.
And then once you have enough competence, then you can go back and start to make your own script. And this is for anything that you're trying to do, that you're trying to master. With the toe touch test, for example, with your feet comfortably under your hips, keeping your knees extended, please reach as far as you can. That's it. I heard so many iterations and versions of people adding in words, adding in different cues, different things in there. Just do it exactly how it's written, because we practice this and it's efficient. Once you get that, you can decide if you want to add other things, because what happened for a lot of people is they started to get tripped up. Well, because they were trying to switch left brain, right? They're trying to read a script, but also be creative with it and put their own little flair on it. And they would miss things, right? They're not actually looking for the thing. They're missing points of performance. So get really, really, really good at delivering something off of a script. And then make the tweaks and the changes to it once you have that down.
Totally agree.
I would imagine that goes for me, that goes for like discovery calls.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. That's for communication and sales as much as it is for how you cue movement.
Was there anything else that you took away from that weekend?
Yeah. Never order lunch from the first place that we ordered lunch ever again.
Yeah.
And discourage all future patrons of that establishment.
Okay.
I don't even know what it was. They better not. I better not find out, because it's gonna be bad for their business.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about?
What's that?
I was thinking about worst deaths by wild animal. What would your worst death by wild animal be? Like the last way you want to die by wild animal of any kind. You can get creative, but it's got to be, a legit old animal.
I feel like some sort of reptile, like a crocodile, alligator thing, because they're just gonna
easy go to. But
they're gonna take you under a log and just leave you there.
That's not what they do.
No,
Death roll, bro.
Yeah, but they death roll and then they take you and stash the body.
I don't know if that's what they do. I'm pretty sure they death roll and then they just swallow.
I don't think that's how it works.
Well, okay.
Anything that would swallow you alive, like a python, like a big snake,
That would suck too.
That would be.
That's not
rough.
the worst though.
What is it?
Fire ants.
Oh,
Crawl all over your skin, crawl inside your mouth, and they eat your lungs from the inside out.
Yeah.
First, while you're still alive and breathing.
is that?
Nostrils, brain stem.
Nope.
Yeah, that's as bad as it gets.
Like in
Second,
movies, how
yes.
they used to torture people and bury them up to their.
Exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
Second, for me, would probably be African wild dogs. 90% success rate hunting because of kleptoparasitism. For those of you who aren't absolute dorks, that means other animals stealing their shit. They have to start eating everything while it's still alive. They don't have the time. So basically, there are 13 wild dogs that are pulling on you from 13 different directions until you're in pieces and you're just screaming.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough.
So seminar, yeah, there's a lot of learning there. A lot of learning there.
Nice segue.
Yeah, it'd be nice, smooth
transit. Way to land the plane, Larry. Well, see you guys out there. Houston, we are going down.
Remember the guy that landed the plane in the Hudson River?
Sully. Yeah.
And everyone was like, he was on drugs. We got to indict this guy. Yeah, sorry that he just saved your mom.
No shit. A little gratitude is appropriate.
Seriously. Anyway, so what are the big takeaways about seminar?
That's all that I
wasn't
had.
too long of a laugh.
What did you have?
We're still on this train. What else about seminar, man? Well, I think that if you're someone who is ready to put yourself in the crucible of learning and awareness, what I mean by that is the hot seat. Like, there's nothing to escape. You can't. There's nowhere to escape when you're in a room of a bunch of other people who see each other and are practicing on each other, and you're trying to get good conversationally and technically. There's nowhere to escape, and you can't leave an environment like that without being better or decisive that this isn't for you.
Right.
One of those two things. And I've seen both of those happen on the other side of this.
Yep.
So that's all I got on seminar. There's a lot there.
One of the things that came up for me as you were talking about that was we had one graduate from ALP who was there. And right. Even going through the consultative process and having the reps, there was pieces of that he wasn't doing that he's like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing that. Like that changes the game. Like he used a practical example of a client that ended up walking out of the consultation and not enrolling. And it was like, okay, so where'd you go wrong? I didn't check in with him on the 4 certainties. Yep. So there's a ton of opportunity as long as you're willing to show up, like you had said. Yep. Do the work.
And I think that anyone that's interested in learning more about it, just shoot us a DM, man, and we could talk about it, whether it's worth the trip or not. And I think it's also worth reaching out to some of the people that have been there if you're not sure and you want to know from their experience.
Yep.
All right, Cody, good work.
See you out there.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Active Life podcast. If you did, please head to wherever you listen and leave us that 5-star rating. It really does go a long way. 5 stars goes a long way. Please leave them. If you're interested in working with us as a coach, remember, we help coaches from around the world build fulfilling careers, working with clients they're inspired to help so they never have to worry about being able to pay your bills again. No one's ever going to ask you if you are going to get a real job when you work with Active Life. All you have to do, head into the show notes, click the link that you find there, download our curriculum. That will give you a feel for what it is going to take for you to be successful. A team member of ours will reach out to you to find out if it's a fit for us to work together. Till the next show, turn pro.